These videos will make you question everything. So remember, this is for entertainment purposes only. Let's check it out.
Do y'all be eating this? I haven't eaten anything from here in over 10 years. In fact, I haven't even stepped foot inside of one of these places in over 10 years. I wanted to go inside and grab some fries because I wanted to test this theory, but it's too early and they don't serve fries until 10:30. So have y'all seen this?
If you go to McDonald's anywhere in the world, you will find French fries. And you will find that they're always made from the same potato, the russet Burbank potato. When you're McDonald's, you like those red boxes with a little bouquet of very long chips. It looks really good. And so they insist that all their potatoes be russet Burbanks, and they further insist that they have no blemishes at all. McDonald's won't buy them if your potatoes have that. And the only way to eliminate that is to eliminate an aphid. And the only way to do that is with a pesticide called Monitor that is so toxic that the farmers who grow these potatoes in Idaho won't venture outside into their fields for 5 days after they spray. And then when they harvest their potatoes, they have to put them in these atmosphere-controlled sheds the size of a football stadium because they're not edible for 6 weeks. They have to off-gas all the chemicals in them.
So I want to know, have y'all ever seen a brown fry at McDonald's? Is this crazy to you that they're putting all these chemicals on these fries? McDonald's, I'm not loving it.
And that's crazy because for the past couple of days, I've been seeing little TikToks pop up on my feed about fast food and different things, right? There was a TikTok with Jim Jones, and he talked about, eating from any place that has your food ready in under a minute is detrimental to your body. He was talking about that recently, and I don't eat a lot of McDonald's. I eat McDonald's once in a spell, and it's probably just breakfast. Not to say that that's any better, because it's probably not, but I don't eat it often, man. I've been backed off.
America's National Security Council issued a report that was intended to define the United States government's official policy on controlling world population. It was called the National Security Study Memorandum 200, or NSSM 200, and it was formulated in cooperation with the United States Agency for International Development, the U.S. State Department, the Department of Defense, and the Central Intelligence Agency. One of its goals was to establish a strategy for reducing the populations of third world countries so that the United States could have increased access to their natural resources, particularly minerals and metals.
Among the conclusions of NSSM 200 was that no country has reduced its population growth without resorting to abortion. The authors of the report then identified 3 non-governmental agencies that would be funded to carry out the government's population control agenda in the targeted countries. One of those agencies was Planned Parenthood.
One of the tactics specified in NSSM 200 was that we might withhold food aid after a disaster if the countries do not accept the American idea of birth control. And this has happened many times all over the world. One example is the Southern American country of Guyana, which was hit by a hurricane back in 1997. Now, they had turned down abortion and birth control for 12 years straight. But after the hurricane hit Guyana in 1997, the World Bank said, we will not give you any aid unless you legalize abortion and birth control. And that's exactly what they did. I've seen this several times in Africa, where droughts have hit, and the United Nations and USAID will not assist unless they accept birth control. I've been all through Africa myself, and I've seen medical clinics that are full of birth control devices, but no safe motherhood delivery kits. There's no anesthesia, there's not even any bandages there. There's crates and crates of birth control pills and condoms. Now, while our commitment to birth control is going up every year, our commitment to authentic economic development is dropping. So we see less clean drinking water funding, less school funding, see less medical clinic funding. Another example is Haiti. Haiti has been hit by hurricanes several times, and the United States and other countries are saturated with birth control. In Haiti now, any woman, 90% of women at least, can now get access to any kind of birth control they want to, government funded, but less than 20% of the Haitians have access to clean drinking water. Now try to imagine there being a natural catastrophe in a country like Canada or Australia or France or England. And we go in there and we say to them, we're not going to offer you any kind of aid unless you accept our philosophy on birth control and population control. That will be outrageous. But that's our standard operating procedure when we go to a black country after a catastrophe of some kind. You cannot believe that we are going to treat people in a foreign country like this and not treat our own population of African Americans the same way. Consider what happened after Hurricane Katrina. One of the first things we did was bring in birth control and contraception. And as we all know, the hurricane disproportionately affected black families in that area. And I seriously doubt if the same kind of disaster hit a middle-class white area, the first response would be condoms and birth control.
Impeaching Joseph R. Biden Jr., President of the United States, for high crimes and misdemeanors. Resolved that Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. is impeached for high crimes and misdemeanors, and that the following articles of impeachment be exhibited to the United States Senate. Articles of impeachment exhibited by the House of Representatives of the United States of America in the name of itself and of the people of the United States of America against Joseph R. Biden Jr., President of the United States, in maintenance and support of its impeachment against him for high crimes and misdemeanors. Article 1, abuse of power. The Constitution provides that the House of Representatives, quote, shall have the sole power of impeachment, end quote, and that the President of the United States, quote, shall be removed from office on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors, end quote. In his conduct as President of the United States and in violation of his constitutional oath faithfully to execute the office of the President of the United States and to the best of his ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States, and in violation of his constitutional duty to take care that the laws be faithfully executed, Joseph R. Biden Jr. has abused the powers of the office of the President of the United States. In fact, using the powers of his office, President Biden has knowingly presided over an executive branch that has continuously, overtly, and consistently violated federal immigration law by pursuing an aggressive open borders agenda, by purposefully and knowingly releasing more than 2 million illegal aliens into the interior of the United States without the intention or ability to ensure that they appear in immigration court to face asylum or deportation proceedings. President Biden has intentionally facilitated a complete and total invasion at the southern border. President Biden ended the migrant protection protocols to require aliens seeking asylum to remain in Mexico while being processed by the Department of Homeland Security. President Biden has closed Department of Homeland Security detention facilities and refused to cooperate with the state and local law enforcement officials in securing the border. He has allowed illegal aliens to enter the United States as asylum seekers, despite knowing they did not qualify for asylum. President Biden has pursued this open border agenda purposefully and willfully, circumventing every safeguard, check, and balance required by law, resulting in mass illegal immigration into the United States to the detriment of the American people. President Biden, with such conduct, has demonstrated a failure to uphold federal immigration law, violating his oath to the Constitution if allowed to remain in office, and has acted in a manner grossly incompatible with the rule of law and to the manifest injury of the people of the United States. Wherefore, President Biden, by such conduct, warrants impeachment and trial, removal from office, and disqualification to hold and enjoy any office of honor, trust, or profit under the United States. Article 2, dereliction of duty. The Constitution provides that the House of Representatives, quote, shall have the sole power of impeachment, end quote, and that the President of the United States, quote, shall be removed from office on impeachment for and the conviction of treason, bribery, and other high crimes and misdemeanors, end quote. In his conduct as President of the United States and in violation of his constitutional oath, faithfully to
How long ago was that? Did that take place? It's been a while, right? And forgive me, but I feel like over the past, 10 plus years, I feel like this is the most we've heard the term impeachment be used. I mean, it's been used a lot, but nothing ever comes from it. Like, it's almost to the point where that word impeachment doesn't hold any weight anymore.
When we invest in clean energy and electric vehicles and reduce population.
We've even heard the Vice President, Kamala Harris, call on the United States to reduce population in recent climate change speeches, which is rather an unbelievable statement from a Vice President. This administration simply does not care about what's best for the American people.
When we invest in clean energy.
Here you go hearing it again, population control. And then you hear about other countries, them forcing them to execute that, having all those different things in place. And okay, we won't send you aid until you have some form of, you see what I'm saying? And you're hearing it. This is scary.
The best way to gain control of the most intelligent, powerful species on the planet would be to completely divide them from the love within themselves. As soon as they are old enough to begin creating an understanding of who they are, force them into a system that teaches them that it is wrong to be yourself if yourself is different from what is accepted as normal. Confuse them about their own biological makeup so that they think that permanently altering their body is the answer to happiness. Require their daily attendance at an institution that makes them focus only on the information that is provided. Make them attend that institution from age 5 until an adult and repeatedly test them on the information so that it becomes their truth. Give them an explanation to everything so that they never have a chance to make their own assumptions of the world. Scold them and humiliate them if they suggest an opinion that opposes that of their authoritives. Keep reminding them of how cruel their ancestors were to each other in the past and broadcast how cruel they are to each other in the present. Only show them tragedies on the news so that they live in fear and think the worst of one another. Convince them that their species used to be that of an incognizant wild animal. Make them think that their very existence is so incredibly random that they lack purpose and struggle to make sense of a creator. Tell them that their kind is as smart as they've ever been so that they don't question the integrity of the system that they're in. Provide them idols with artificial beauty and use them as examples of what it is to look perfect so that they are never content with their own appearance and can't help but to compare themselves amongst each other. Create addictive digital platforms that rank them by numbers so that they base their self-worth off of the amount of followers that they have and are never satisfied. Build a society around them in which those who have money benefit and those who don't fail. Make money their main focus, but make it so difficult to accumulate that they remain in a place of constant struggle, forced to dedicate the majority of their time to the system that made it this way. Tax them in every way possible, but tell them that it's for their own benefit so that they don't think twice about paying it. Take so much of their time and energy throughout the week, but give them 2 days to themselves so that they feel a sense of reward and don't fight back. Promote the consumption of poison in every social setting so that even on those 2 days, they remain disconnected from themselves and each other. Pump their food with excess sugars and addictive chemicals, but make it cheap, advertised, and easily accessible so that they never stop consuming. When their food makes them ill, prescribe them medication that only masks the symptoms so that they become dependent on it every day. Charge them so much money for healthcare so that they stay in a constant loop of consuming, medicating, and working. Cause chaos amongst them and blame it on a group of their own so that they form judgmental stereotypes. Turn them against each other in so many ways so that even if they were to connect on one, they would still be. The best way to gain control.
Wake up, everyone. This is systemic. This is what you call systemic. And it used to be just, it was happening to the minority. But now it feels like it's happening in the minority and the majority. Everybody's feeling it.
So, going a little conspiratorial again. I'm not getting too conspiratorial, but I'm just going to drop a little bit of things I've been thinking about on y'all and let y'all do with them what you want to. So I've seen a lot of people talking about the whole alien thing, and it's a distraction. Well, like, good, because like it is a distraction, but like, what is it a distraction from? Well, let's look at some of the main problems in America and the questions they don't want you asking about. The biggest problem I think right now in America, besides like all the economic things, but I'm talking about the children and stuff that we're dealing with, is fentanyl. So when I was homeless on the streets and I was a fentanyl addict, I asked a lot of fentanyl dealers, like, I started getting real curious about it. Because I started realizing it was not good. And I started realizing that the dealers started realizing that it wasn't good for the community. So I started asking, why do you sell this stuff, bro? Like, this is terrible. Like, I don't want to buy this, dude. No one seems to really enjoy doing it, and it just destroys the community. And like, these are people that were like real hood people, and they were like, admittedly, like, you know, a lot of them were like, well, it's good money, you know what I mean? Like, that type of, like, some of these people were real old cats, and they were like, dude, we were against it for a long time. But the problem is that if we don't sell the drugs that they want us to sell, that they will arrest us. And that's about as much as I could get out of, like, people. I probably got 2 or 3 people to answer like that. And it was basically all along the same lines. And, like, someone once told me that they literally had, like, a government official come up to them and be like, look, and show them like a phone and like a bunch of red dots. These are all the people selling our drugs, and here you are in the middle of us selling your drugs, and we're going to need you to sell our drugs or get out of here. So the thing about it is, you got to look at it. Why would, like, if it is the government selling this, and like, there's no if to me, it's 100% the government pushing these drugs, and they did this way back in the day where they took all these dealers and they like blew them up, and they made them real rich and real famous by like helping them with their drug trade, and like they got money out of it. And they would also make them gun runners, and they would make them human traffickers, and, you know, body part organ harvesters, and like they had all these illegal businesses running out of the back door of America. And like about half of that's been admitted to. But like, here's the thing that like you gotta ask yourself: the fentanyl's not going anywhere. Addiction and death rates aren't going down; they're going up. And everyone's talking about, why is America distracting us from aliens? They're distracting you from aliens because they don't want you to understand, or they don't want you to ask questions about, where is this fentanyl coming from? Why is it flooding our streets? Why aren't they stopping it? Because when I was in San Francisco on the streets, I mean, there's people out there like, fentanyl, got fentanyl for sale, blah, blah, blah. And like, you're like, right in front of cops and stuff, and they're not doing nothing. I also saw a cop and some dude at like 3 a.m. trade stuff throughout their car, you know what I mean? So not only if you don't sell the drugs that they want you to sell, are they going to come and arrest you, but you also are selling them information. They're using these people as informants to take out the rest of the competition, you know? So if you're not selling the drugs, they got their informants that sell drugs that can get those people arrested. So just something to think about. You know, aliens, the bottom of our list, dude, they're demons. We all know this, bro. Also, last point, bro, why are they pushing this fentanyl stuff? My personal opinion, it is the population control agenda coming into effect. There's a lot of things that are killing people nowadays more than ever, and it's population control. 100%, they're culling the population. Anyone willing to risk their personal safety to do a drug is at the bottom of their priority list. You know what I mean? I was at the bottom of the priority list. Nobody cares about it. Everyone looks at drug addicts like, oh, you did that to yourself, bro. But the bottom line is we chose a terrible coping mechanism because we had no other better teaching for us at the time. I met drug addicts that were put on drugs by their parents when they were like 10 or 12 years old that struggled their whole lives. All my best friends are dead because of drugs. So to me, it's not something like I take lightly, you know what I mean? It's not something like I see and I'm like, oh, another dead addict, bro. It's a tragedy, bro. And when I see the government pushing these drugs into the streets, it's like clearly the government. No one can convince me otherwise. And if you go out into the streets and talk to dealers and talk to people, you'll figure this out for yourself too, bro. It's not something like I just am grandly like have this like spider web of charts in my room and I'm putting it all together. It's something that I've literally just gone out and talked to people. And like they're like, yeah, it's the government, dude. Talk to enough people, bro, and you'll figure it out, dude. And this isn't like an anti-trusting government thing. Like, this is straight up the government doing some sick and evil population control under the table. And you know, the whole fentanyl thing's been blown under the rug. It's really like not even that big deal. But if you look up statistics, they're not going down, they're going up. Rehabs aren't helping. Rehabs are just a money-making machine designed to steal your freaking soul, dude. They want you addicted to drugs so that every time you relapse and come back, they get more money off of you. You know what I'm saying? That's everybody in rehabs, bro. There's some good people out working in rehabs. But I'm saying the upper dogs that control the rehabs, that own the rehabs, that are making money off the rehabs, those are the people, dude. I mean, they're not good, bro. I met these people. They're terrible people. And some of them are addicts, too, dude. Like, they're not even, like, clean. So, yo, going a little conspiracy.
They say history will repeat itself. You know? We all, and I ain't going to say we all, because maybe some people don't know about the whole CIA crack epidemic situation and how, you know, they were helping bring the stuff in, push it into the communities to make money to fund the wars. Like, if you don't know, do your research, man, and go back and look into some of that stuff. History will repeat itself. And a lot of people are saying that's what they're seeing right now with this whole fentanyl situation, you know? And another thing he said, man, you cannot look down on addicts, bro. They're real people too, man. It's not always, oh, they just chose to do this. Some people became addicted through them having back pains or pains and then going to the doctor and getting a prescription and then getting hooked on it. Like, they didn't choose to do that or go through the normal route of what you may see somebody do it through depression or something like that and choose that or something. But yeah, man, they are normal people just like you and me, bro.
Ever since COVID, I just kind of haven't felt the same. Little more rickety, kind of under the weather more. It takes me longer to recover from things. My joints hurt all the time. I get on TikTok and I'll start hearing about they put things in the water and the food's all poison and this and that and everything else. And I'm starting to freak myself out. Like, you know, it's all just something to disrupt life expectancy and kill us all off and make people not live as long and yada, yada. I don't know, big government conspiracy, whatever. And it just occurred to me that the year of COVID, I turned 40. Like, you're getting old, buddy. You know, maybe you just got the arthritis. Maybe you need a multivitamin. You need a little more veggies. You ever think of that, Einstein? I don't know why it took me so long to realize that, but I think that's probably the deal. What do you say? Ever since...
That is true, man. We are getting old, bro. We need a multivitamin here and there. Some more vitamin C, man. You know, you get a little older. That's the truth.
Pay attention and listen, because this CIA agent is going to explain how the government controls people. Look.
You go through high school, everything is strictly like regulated.
Yeah.
Here are the courses you have to take. Mm-hmm. Here are the scores you have to get in order to get your diploma, in order to graduate and qualify to apply for university.
Yeah, these are the things that the government deems as important for you to know. That's what public school is.
And then, or private school is the same way, because private school is still dictated, still regulated by a curriculum.
That's true.
That's got to be approved by a higher power, right? So then you go on to university, and the first year and a half, 2 years of university is the same way. You have to learn these things. You have to complete these credits. You have to take these courses in order to qualify to choose for yourself. There's never a step where they teach you how to choose for yourself.
Yeah.
So then everybody gets through those first few credit hours, right? And then they have the freedom to choose anything they want. And they're like, well, what do I choose?
Yeah.
I never thought of that before. That essentially you're finally granted the freedom to choose what you want to learn, but nobody ever teaches you how to choose what to learn.
Pay attention and listen.
He's right, because you've been pretty much steered your entire life, especially from K through 12. You've been told what to learn, how to learn, this, that, and the third. And now you get that reminder going into college, and then you're exposed to something. You're like, what do I do now?
Women create the entire population. Minus a few exceptions, but yeah. And men used to control women by controlling their rights. Those were dark times. But then we got rights, which pretty much means that we have the ability to make our own choices now. And we have access to education, which means we're able to make educated decisions for ourselves. Yeah, rights are dope. Well, now that we can make educated decisions and we have access to contraception and bodily autonomy, we can choose when and if we want to have children. Yeah, what are you trying to say? Just that they're taking our rights away because we control the population.
This is their bill. 2,500 pages. If you take a look at $3.5 trillion price tag, and you do the math, that's $1.4 billion for every page of this bill. And they want to pass it this week. How many Democrats do you think have read this? Think Nancy Pelosi's read it? Think Chuck Schumer's read it? Do you think Joe Biden, who is desperately begging Democrats to pass it, do you think he's read it? Do you think he knows what's in it?